Oh hey guys, let's do some animation. I'm going to go ahead and open up a recent file that you may recognize from the previous tutorial. And I was thinking to myself when I hit the Control Enter button that it was kind of janky, but if you're a newbie animator like me and you don't really know like animation stuff, it's kind of hard to tell, honestly, everything that's wrong with it until you go through and in between it. So in this tutorial, I'm going to in between this bad boy. And you should be excited because there's only 4 in-betweens. So I'm going to click on those guys and hit F7 on each one of them. Make sure you're clicking on the right place. Alright, so there we go. So now if I hit Control Enter, it blinks, which is awesome if you're animating a club with a strobe light. But otherwise you're going to want to do the in-betweens. Alright, I'm going to turn on onion skinning, and I need my onion skin handles to be only 1 frame in front and 1 frame behind, because that's the length between each frame. Good enough reason, right? There's a lot of things you want to consider when doing in-betweens. Number 1, think about what you're doing. I can't tell you how many times I've been in big trouble from not thinking. Not just in animating either, you know what I'm saying? Alright, here we go. That guy there. I'm learning slowly how to take better videos. I'm trying to put my face up in the camera a little better so you're not just always looking at my eyebrows. And I'm also trying to talk into the microphone. I hope that it's good enough for you to obtain and achieve the information that you need. If not, then I'm sorry. I'll try to do better. Okay, so this first in-between so far has been pretty straightforward. I mean, I got this thing growing, so I started small and got all these shapes that are very clearly turning into each other. Something you want to consider when doing an in-between, like if you got a shape like this, and then you got a shape like this over here, and your goal is to create a motion that's like that, for heaven's sakes, don't turn off your brain when you start in between, because if you did, you would take this point here, right, and this point here, and you go halfway in between them. And you would take that point there, and that point there, and go halfway in between them, right, in between. And then you would do a J shape between them. It's the worst, because this is so linear. It's just like coming straight down. Instead, you gotta think like this, you know? You gotta move this guy out here and like swoop it around. Put that in between out there so that it has some pizzazz to it, some motion to it. You can totally kill an animation by in betweening it wrong. Trust me, I've done it more times than I can count. So that's gonna come up there. This swoop is gonna turn into that swoop. Pretty standard stuff. You'll notice I just made that mistake that I was telling you about. This line is exactly along this very straight, boring curve between these two. So, you know what? I'm going to leave it there so that you can see very clearly the better way. I'm going to just give that guy a little bit of a swagger, a little bit of sway, if you will. Back into there. I'm just going to just... Sorry, I'm making motions with my hands. I forget that you're not here. It's like you're right here with me. In fact, I'm going to give that guy a little bit of that same treatment too. Alright, now this frame is going to be fun. I can feel it. I can feel it. Alright, so this lump is traveling that way, and it's becoming... Nope. I am so wrong. In fact, sometimes you'll notice you gotta change your keys because they're jacked up. Alright, check this out. So what we've got here is we've got a lump here. It's traveling to here. But there is a second lump forming here. So it feels like this guy is traveling that way and that way. Can you see that? It's like splitting up into these two things. What's worse is that this lump continues this terrible journey of sucking in. You know, if you want a flame, you got to create a feeling of it just spreading its wings and just flaring right out, you know? I mean, we say something's flaring, like flaring your nostrils. It's like what flames do. They flare, they grow, they don't shrink. I got a shrinking flame up in here. Like, look at this. So this point is coming in here, like it's all timid and shrunken, and then it suddenly, for some reason, just decides to go back out. Man, that's jacked up. We gotta fix this thing. I'm gonna delete all these arrows, because I don't want those in my animation. Alright, so we got this problem. First step to solving the problem. Make it look like it's growing out from the center. To do that, you gotta make it just a little bit bigger. Like, it's okay, let's see. Like, I can do a lump here. It's okay for the rest of this to rise upward. Right? You see that? It's going up. This guy here, man, he's coming out. He's flaring, man. Look at that. Look at that flare. It's like, I'm here. I'm flaring. I'm doing stuff. And he's going to just keep on flaring. He's just going to come right out there. He's like, I'm owning this place. Look at that. Look at that. Just look at it. Look at it. I need to extend this out because I can no longer see, because I'm now working on keyframes. A big part of in-betweening is actually fixing your keyframes. So this comes over here now. And then it's almost matched up, right? Like if I bring this out here, I can see the in-between. I can just erase this now because it's pretty obvious what the in-between needs to be. This guy is just going to keep his trajectory coming on up into that beautiful shape. Beautiful. So beautiful. It's becoming what he was meant to be. And you can just spot check it for now. Honestly, there's probably going to be a lot of other issues with this animation. Like I said, bear with me. In-betweening takes time. I don't really know how else to teach it though, so if you want to learn it, you're going to have to stick with it, I guess. And if you're not able to stick with it, then you probably should be something else professionally, because 2D animating is a little tedious. And it can drive you crazy, unless you're already crazy. And if you're already crazy, then welcome to the club. You are among friends. Alright, so I could come up here and be like, yeah, this is turning into this, right? And that's just bad. You gotta keep your brain going. Because look at this. This is like lost opportunity here. You got this little hook right here. You see this guy? He's like this little nub. And then you got this guy here, this big hook, right? Well, the little one is supposed to become the big one. How's he going to do that if he just disappears for a frame and then suddenly the big one's appearing? You got to keep your brain going when you're in-betweening. It is not a mindless exercise. So now the little one is becoming the thing he's meant to be. A medium-sized hook. Which you can see here, this like kind of curves like that, right? And then this curves like that. So I kind of got to figure out how to like do a combo of those in between there. Now here we've got a little indentation there that becomes a more pronounced indentation there. So be aware of that. If I were to just come through here, this is just a great opportunity to explain this. If I look in between these two, right? They have all this space in between them, right? And if I just went right through the center of each of these lines, I would be failing as an in-between artist. The key is to think about what things should be turning into what things. So this indentation becomes that one. That means I'm going to need an indentation here. And this one's shallow, and this one's deep. So this is going to be kind of in between. Something like that. And you can check it by flipping your frames. I flip my frames daily. Comes on up. And remember what I said earlier about not just doing a straight thing, but leaving some personality in the curve. Alright, so this guy, oh man, I got another keyframe problem. Can you see it? We got this point here, it's coming like there, and then it's doing that, and then it's moving so slow, and then it's turning into a round thing? I don't even know. We gotta fix this. This is bad. Let's start blunting it out a little sooner. Yeah, that looks better. And then in here, I can start that transition as well, like coming up into something like that. There you go. Yeah, that'll work. It's good enough for government work. And for the purposes of this tutorial, this is like what, tutorial number 5 of everything? We'll have plenty of time to go into the intricacies of fire, but for today we'll just kind of skip through pretty quick, because you got places to be, I'm sure. I don't, but you probably do. Most important place I could be is right here with you. So touching. I'm just prettying up the lines. You can get lost trying to make these rough lines pretty, but trust me, it ain't worth it. You gotta be quick, because the next frame is gonna take just as long, man. And the one after that, you gotta move. All right. So now this is interesting, because here this guy is attached, but he's detached right there. So I'm gonna have to figure out how in the world he detaches. And a helicopter will be joining us tonight. Alright, helicopter's gone. So, this little dude here, this little hook, is now becoming this hook. You see that there? There's kind of this like remnant of like a negative shape there. So I'm imagining this bigger hook here, oops, sorry, here, versus this guy here, and this is my in-between. So it's going to come up, and this is how I'm going to know whether or not it's detached in this frame, is because if I go straight in the middle, so here's this hook here, and then here's this hook here, right? If I go straight in the middle of those two, I'm going to see, does it contact? It does not. Alright, so that solves that issue. Now, I think I want this to be like a little more hooky here. Let me place it hooky. There we go. Get my mouse out of the way here. Alright, so this shape, oof, that's coming a little far, don't you think? I mean, you got this point here, and he's becoming this guy up here, this dude. Like, what's the big hurry, man? Like, don't travel so far. I mean, especially on such a full stomach. Could get cramps. Like, I ain't buying it. Okay, so we got this. We got problems. Yeah, I mean, you look at this. Like, this point here. It's first off, it's contracting. Are you seeing this? Are you seeing all the noob mistakes I'm making? It's contracting it, and then it suddenly decides, nope, I'm gonna just fly clear up there. And these are like big problems that you as an effects artist and myself are gonna run into. So how do we solve for these? Okay, well, first off, you shouldn't have such a negative shape. I mean, don't be so negative, right? By negative shape, I mean like, you know, this like a bite got taken out of it. I mean, it's a fuel source at the bottom, right? So I don't know, make it a little more rounded. Like it's like bubbling up, you know? Bubble that up. And this here, you know, like that's a bubble. Like it's burning off a fuel source. And then you in between it like that. And then you got a bubbly shape. And what's great about this is that I can now expand it. So instead of contracting in, I'm going to bring that bubble shape out. That's what I'm going to do. It's just the obvious thing to do, right? I mean, fire flares out, right? So flare away. And then we come to this gem. If I go like that, I can fix all my mistakes. So it's going to become a negative shape in the final frame, like that. That's fine. I've been flaring out long enough. It's about time that I start creating some negativity in here. Like that. Something like that. Yeah, and then that'll rotate. It'll work. Just trust me. Alright, what was I doing? I was on this frame. Get that there. Alright, so this guy is now flaring up and creating the negative, and then coming down. You can see this arch here becomes that one where it's split apart. So it won't be split just yet. This point and that point are connected. And then there's a bulge here. It's bulging out. It's concave here and it's convex there. So I'll do like the beginnings of it there. Okay. This is coming like that. And then, there we go. So that one's in between. And then we've got the grand connector to connect all connections. The first and the last and the first, all that jazz. Make sure it's in between. You don't want none of them lines to wobble. That's another noob mistake. If I were to do this line sloppy like that, it would wobble. So don't be lazy. Keep your brain turned on when you're in betweening, and you'll save yourself a lot of time. A lot of time. Not going back and fixing your frames later. Plus, this is a good way to get smarter and stay in school. Alright, so this is a bump here, and this is a bump here. So I'm going to do a bump in between them. That's a dip there, and that's a dip there. So I'm going to do a dip in between them. And I'm going to try my darndest not to make this wobble, even though it's just a rough, but still want to be helpful to myself later. Alright, so then that becomes that. And there we go. I just realized I was showing you my eyebrows for an extended period of time. Alright, save it, because Flash does crash. And hit Control Enter. So there you go. This guy's looking pretty good. I don't know. Usually at this point, I'll actually like stand up, walk away from my desk, and just stare at it for a while. And I'll think, maybe I should go into accounting. And then I think, or I could just fix this animation and then keep getting paid for making artwork. And I'm like, okay, I think I'll finish it. So, if you're like me, sometimes you just need to step away from it for a little bit to kind of see what's really wrong with it. Because if you just stare at it too long, you'll get like really confused and you'll start overthinking it and you'll miss the whole point. And it's especially helpful to like actually back away from the screen and to see the simple shapes like from far away. Like, are the simple shapes working? Is the motion working? What are some things I could do to make the motion better? In this situation, I don't know, I'm pretty happy with this guy. Some things I would change, maybe these shapes coming up over here could be a little bigger. Like I was saying, like I kind of want a wobble. Right now I got a really big negative shape coming up here, like eating a hole in my animation. And its counterpart is moving in the right timing because it's not coming up at the same time, it's coming up alternating. But it just doesn't feel as big and important as this guy, right? So I can change my in-betweens and my keyframes to fix it, make it better. But anyway, I'm going to just leave it like that for now and call this tutorial good. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something.